Most people think taking vitamin D is simple, just pop a pill and you're good to go. But the truth is, vitamin D is one of the most misunderstood nutrients out there. People hear it's good for bones or immunity, so they start taking high doses every single day without understanding how it actually works in the body. And that's where the trouble begins. See, vitamin D isn't just a vitamin. It behaves like a hormone. It influences over 2,000 genes related to immunity, mood, metabolism, and calcium balance. That's powerful stuff. So when you take it incorrectly or in the wrong amounts, you're not just wasting your supplement. You could be creating a deeper imbalance inside your body. The first major mistake people make is assuming that more is better. They hear about the benefits of vitamin D and immediately start taking 10,000 or even 20,000 IU per day, thinking it will boost their energy, improve mood, or strengthen immunity faster. But that's not how it works. Vitamin D is fat soluble, meaning it stays in your body for a long time. When you take too much without proper testing or supervision, it can build up and cause toxicity. Too much vitamin D leads to high calcium levels in the blood, a condition known as hypercalcemia. That can result in nausea, weakness, kidney stones, or even damage to your heart and arteries. So, blindly taking high doses without knowing your baseline levels is a big mistake. Always test before you take. The second mistake is forgetting that vitamin D doesn't work alone. You can't just isolate it and expect miracles. Think of vitamin D as part of a team that includes magnesium, vitamin K2, and even some trace minerals like zinc and boron. If one player is missing, the whole system struggles. For example, when you take vitamin D, it helps your body absorb calcium from your diet. Sounds good, right? But here's the problem. Without vitamin K2, that calcium doesn't know where to go. It can end up in your arteries or soft tissues instead of your bones. Over time, this can lead to stiff arteries, calcified joints, and muscle cramps, all because you took vitamin D without its supporting partners. So, if you're supplementing vitamin D, always make sure you're also getting enough vitamin K2. You can find K2 in foods like egg yolks, cheese, grass-fed butter, or natto, or you can take it as a combined supplement with D3. Magnesium is another silent player in this equation. It's required for your body to convert vitamin D into its active form, known as calcitriol. Without enough magnesium, your vitamin D supplement just sits there, inactive, unable to do its job. That's why some people take vitamin D for months and see no change in their blood levels. They're magnesium deficient. Unfortunately, most people are. Processed foods, stress, caffeine, and sugar all deplete magnesium. If you often experience muscle cramps, fatigue, irritability, or poor sleep, it might not just be low vitamin D, it could be low magnesium too. You can get magnesium naturally from spinach, almonds, pumpkin seeds, and dark chocolate, or take a high-quality magnesium glycinate supplement. Another overlooked mistake is taking vitamin D at the wrong time. Many people pop their supplement right before bed thinking it doesn't matter. But vitamin D actually mimics the effects of sunlight in your body. It signals wakefulness, alertness, and daytime activity. So when you take it at night, it can interfere with your sleep, leaving you restless or wired. The best time to take vitamin D is in the morning or around midday, ideally with your first meal. This aligns it with your natural circadian rhythm and helps your body absorb it better. And then there's the absorption issue. Vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin, meaning it dissolves in fat, not water. Taking it on an empty stomach with just water is one of the most common mistakes people make. It drastically reduces absorption. The solution is simple. Take your vitamin D with a meal that contains healthy fats. Avocado, olive oil, nuts, seeds, or eggs are perfect. One study even showed that taking vitamin D with your largest meal of the day could boost blood levels by up to 50%. So a small change like this can make your supplement far more effective. But let's not forget the most natural and powerful source of vitamin D, sunlight. Supplements are helpful, especially if you live in areas with long winters or limited sun exposure, but they're not a complete replacement for natural sunlight. When sunlight hits your skin, it triggers a complex process that produces vitamin D while also influencing other hormones like serotonin and melatonin. These help regulate your mood, immune system, and sleep. You can't get that full effect from a pill. Even 15 to 20 minutes of sun exposure on your arms and face a few times a week can make a huge difference. There's also a misconception that darker-skinned individuals don't need as much vitamin D because they live in sunny countries. That's false. In fact, people with darker skin produce less vitamin D from sunlight because melanin acts as a natural sunscreen. So even if you live in a bright, hot climate, you might still be deficient if you spend most of your time indoors or avoid direct sun exposure. That's why testing your vitamin D levels is so important. A simple blood test can tell you exactly where you stand so you can adjust your dosage safely and effectively. Here's another key point. If you're taking vitamin D and still not feeling any better, low energy, poor immunity, muscle weakness, or frequent infections, don't rush to increase your dosage. Look at the other side of the equation. Are you eating enough whole foods? Are you getting healthy fats in your diet? Are you drinking enough water? Vitamin D is not magic. It works within the context of your entire lifestyle. When you correct these small daily habits, proper diet, sunlight, sleep, and balanced nutrients, your body starts using vitamin D the way it's meant to. So the truth is, the problem isn't with vitamin D itself, it's with how most people take it. They take too much at the wrong time without its supporting nutrients and expect fast results. But the body doesn't work that way. It thrives on balance. When you take vitamin D intelligently, moderate doses with food in the morning alongside magnesium and K2, you'll notice a real difference. Your energy improves, mood stabilizes, immunity strengthens, and even your bones and joints feel better. That's when vitamin D stops being just a supplement and starts becoming a true health transformer. Another big mistake people make with vitamin D is ignoring how it's absorbed. Most people take their vitamin D supplement like it's a painkiller, a quick swallow with water on an empty stomach, and then expect great results. But vitamin D doesn't work that way. It's a fat-soluble vitamin, which means it dissolves in fat, not water. If you take it without fat, your body can't absorb it efficiently. In simple terms, you're wasting your supplement. This is why some people take vitamin D every day and still have low blood levels. The body just isn't absorbing it. To fix this, always take vitamin D with a meal that includes healthy fats like avocado, olive oil, fish, nuts, or eggs. This small change can dramatically increase absorption and make your supplement truly effective. Now let's talk about something that most people never consider: timing. When you take vitamin D at the wrong time, you can actually throw off your body's natural rhythm. Many people take it at night thinking it won't matter. But vitamin D behaves like sunlight inside your body. It helps regulate your circadian rhythm, that internal clock that controls when you feel awake or sleepy. So if you take vitamin D before bed, you might find yourself restless, unable to fall asleep, or waking up in the middle of the night. The better approach is to take it in the morning or around midday, preferably when you're eating your first substantial meal. This aligns your supplement intake with your body's natural daylight cycle. You'll feel more alert during the day, and your sleep quality at night will actually improve. Another important point is that vitamin D doesn't just support your bones, it influences almost every system in your body. It helps your immune cells recognize and fight infections, reduces inflammation, supports brain health, and even affects your mood. Low vitamin D levels have been linked to fatigue, anxiety, depression, and muscle weakness. But here's where it gets interesting. If you've been supplementing and not feeling better, the issue might not be your vitamin D dosage, it might be the way your body is processing it. Vitamin D must be converted into its active form by the liver and kidneys. For this conversion to happen efficiently, your body needs magnesium. Without enough magnesium, that conversion slows down, and your vitamin D remains in its inactive form, doing very little. So even if you're taking a perfect dose, your body might not be using it properly. That's why Dr. Eric Berg and many other health experts emphasize the importance of nutrient synergy. Vitamin D works best when paired with the right nutrients. For example, magnesium helps activate it, vitamin K2 directs calcium to the right places, and fat ensures it gets absorbed. Think of these nutrients like teammates. If one player is missing, the whole team struggles. When you combine them properly, everything just starts working better. Your energy rises, your immunity becomes stronger, and your mood stabilizes. You don't need mega doses, you need balance. And speaking of calcium, here's another huge misunderstanding. Many people think that taking vitamin D automatically strengthens their bones because use it helps absorb calcium. That's only half the story. Yes, vitamin D increases calcium absorption, but if you don't have enough vitamin K2, that calcium can deposit in the wrong places, like your arteries, joints, and kidneys. This can lead to calcification, which is something you definitely don't want. K2 acts like a traffic controller. It tells calcium exactly where to go, into your bones and teeth, not your arteries. So if you're taking vitamin D daily, it's crucial to include K2 as well, either through diet or supplements. Foods like egg yolks, grass-fed butter, and aged cheese are great sources. Now let's talk about how lifestyle affects vitamin D. If you're someone who spends most of your day indoors, working under artificial lights, driving everywhere, avoiding direct sunlight, your body is missing out on the natural rhythm that vitamin D creates. Sunlight doesn't just produce vitamin D, it boosts serotonin, balances melatonin, and helps regulate your immune system. Taking a supplement helps, but it's not a full replacement for sunlight. Just 15 to 20 minutes of direct sunlight on your arms, face, or legs a few times a week can make a massive difference. And if you live in regions with long winters or low sunlight, that's when supplements become essential. But again, they should support your lifestyle, not replace it. You see, vitamin D isn't something to take casually. It's deeply connected to your body's rhythm, energy, and internal balance. So taking it with the right fats at the right time, with the right supporting nutrients, that's what turns an ordinary supplement into a health-transforming habit. When you start doing that consistently, you'll notice real changes, more stable energy during the day, stronger immunity, and even better mood control. Your body feels balanced because it's finally working in sync with nature, not against it. Remember, supplements are there to fill gaps, not to replace real food or sunlight. Vitamin D works best in a body that's already being cared for, with clean nutrition, good sleep, regular movement, and stress control. Once you align all of these together, your vitamin D starts performing at its full potential. It's not about taking more, it's about taking it right. You said, now let's dig into one of the most overlooked parts of the vitamin D story, the nutrients that make it actually work inside your body. Most people think vitamin D alone is enough, but in reality, it's only one piece of a complex puzzle. Without the right cofactors, especially magnesium and vitamin K2, your body can't fully activate or use vitamin D properly. So even if you're taking your supplement daily, you might still feel tired, weak, or deficient because the foundation isn't complete. Let's start with magnesium. This mineral is like the ignition key for vitamin D. When you take vitamin D3, your liver and kidneys need magnesium to convert it into its active form, the one that your cells can actually use. If you're low in magnesium, that conversion process slows down dramatically. You might take 5,000 IU or even 10,000 IU every day and still not see your blood levels go up. That's because your body doesn't have the raw material it needs to make the conversion happen. And here's the problem. Most people today are chronically deficient in magnesium. Modern soil is depleted, processed foods strip it away, and stress, caffeine, and sugar all drain it even further. So by the time you start taking vitamin D, your body doesn't have enough magnesium to back it up. How do you know if you might be magnesium deficient? The signs are subtle but common: muscle cramps, twitching eyelids, poor sleep, irritability, fatigue, anxiety, or even headaches. These are your body's little warning signals that it needs more magnesium. You can increase your intake naturally through foods like leafy greens, almonds, pumpkin seeds, cashews, and dark chocolate. Or you can take a supplement. Magnesium glycinate or citrate are good forms that absorb well without upsetting your stomach. When you start giving your body enough magnesium, you'll notice your vitamin D levels respond faster and your energy becomes more stable. Now let's talk about vitamin K2, which is just as important. Imagine this: vitamin D helps your body absorb calcium from food, but without K2, that calcium doesn't know where to go. It might end up in the wrong places, your arteries, kidneys, or joints, instead of in your bones and teeth where it's actually needed. Over time, that misplaced calcium can cause hardening of arteries, joint stiffness, and even kidney stones. K2 acts as a traffic controller. It tells calcium, Hey, go to the bones and stay out of the arteries. This is why many people who take high doses of vitamin D without K2 end up with calcification problems. Vitamin K2 is found naturally in foods like egg yolks, butter from grass-fed cows, aged cheese, and fermented foods like natto. Though natto isn't very common outside Japan, that's why most people prefer to take a combined D3 plus K2 supplement. This pairing ensures that vitamin D increases calcium absorption while K2 directs that calcium to the right destination. It's a perfect synergy. They balance each other beautifully. There's also an interesting connection between vitamin D and your parathyroid hormone, which helps regulate calcium levels in your blood. When your vitamin D is too low, your parathyroid gland goes into overdrive to maintain calcium balance, pulling calcium out of your bones, which can eventually make them weaker. But when you correct your vitamin D levels with the right cofactors, this system calms down and your bones start rebuilding strength naturally. So instead of just taking random supplements, you're now working with your body's natural design. Another mistake people make is taking synthetic or low-quality vitamin D supplements. Not all D3 products are equal. Some are poorly absorbed, contain unnecessary fillers, or are made with inferior oil bases. Always choose vitamin D3, cholecalciferol, not D2, ergocalciferol, because D3 is the form your body naturally produces from sunlight. D2 is cheaper, but much less effective at raising blood levels. And always make sure it's paired with a healthy fat source. That's how your body is designed to process it. Something else to note, inflammation can interfere with how your body uses vitamin D. If you have chronic inflammation from processed foods, high sugar intake, or lack of sleep, your receptors become less sensitive. This means even if you're taking enough vitamin D, your cells might not respond to it properly. Reducing inflammation through better nutrition, hydration, sleep, and stress management makes your vitamin D much more effective. Now here's where things get really fascinating. When vitamin D, K2, and magnesium are all working together, your body doesn't just absorb nutrients better, it starts healing at a deeper level. Your immune system becomes more resilient, your muscles recover faster, your bones strengthen, and your mood becomes more balanced. You start feeling that sense of inner stability, the kind of steady energy that lasts all day. That's what proper vitamin D utilization feels like. And this is the point where you realize it's not about taking more supplements. It's about building harmony inside your body. When you respect how these nutrients work together, your body rewards you with vitality, strength, and calmness. That's why Dr. Berg often says it's not just what you take, it's how you take it. So if you've been frustrated that your vitamin D levels won't rise or you're not feeling the benefits yet, look deeper. Add magnesium, add K2, focus on your diet, your timing, and your overall health. You'll be surprised how much better you start to feel. You'll once all the puzzle pieces finally fit together. The biggest mistake people make with vitamin D, and perhaps the most dangerous, is believing that supplements alone can replace sunlight. Vitamin D is often called the sunshine vitamin for a reason. Your body was designed to create it naturally when sunlight hits your skin. That process does far more than just produce vitamin D. It triggers a whole chain of biological reactions that balance your hormones, boost your mood, and regulate your internal clock. When you rely entirely on supplements and avoid the sun, you miss out on those additional benefits, the ones no pill can replicate. Even 15 to 20 minutes of sunlight exposure on your face and arms a few times a week can make a huge difference in how you feel. The sunlight interacts with your cholesterol to produce vitamin D3 right in your skin in the exact form your body needs. But here's what's interesting. Modern life has made it almost impossible for most people to get enough natural sunlight. We spend our days indoors under artificial lights, wearing sunscreen, or driving in cars with UV-protected glass. Even in sunny countries, people are deficient because they're rarely outside at the right times. Between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. is when the UVB rays, the ones needed for vitamin D production, are strongest. A few minutes in the sun during this window without sunscreen can do more for your vitamin D levels than weeks of supplements. Of course, balance is key. You don't want to burn your skin. Just short, smart exposure to sunlight several times a week can help your body stay naturally balanced. Now, if you live in a place with long winters or low sunlight, supplements are essential. But that doesn't mean you should take random doses. The smart approach is to get your vitamin D levels tested. A simple blood test called 25-hydroxyvitamin D tells you exactly where you stand. Ideally, you want your level between 50 and 70 nagmalsia. That's the optimal range for most people. Too low, and your immunity, mood, and energy start to suffer. Too high, and you risk toxicity, especially if you're not getting enough vitamin K2 or magnesium. It's all about balance. Never guess, always test. Once you know your baseline, you can adjust your supplement dose wisely instead of shooting in the dark. And here's something many people don't realize. Vitamin D affects not just your bones and immunity, but also your mood and mental clarity. Low vitamin D levels are strongly linked with seasonal depression, anxiety, and fatigue. That's one reason why people feel more positive, energetic, and focused in summer and more sluggish or down in winter. It's not just the weather, it's your biology responding to sunlight. When you restore your vitamin D levels through smart sun exposure or proper supplementation, your serotonin and dopamine levels stabilize. You start feeling more motivated, more focused, and emotionally steady. It's like turning the lights back on inside your brain. Another factor to consider is your diet and lifestyle. Vitamin D doesn't work well in a body burdened by poor food choices, chronic stress, or lack of sleep. If your liver or kidneys are sluggish, they can't activate vitamin D efficiently. That's why detoxifying your body through clean eating, hydration, and sleep is just as important as the supplement itself. Eat nutrient-dense foods, eggs, fatty fish, grass-fed butter, avocado, olive oil, and stay away from refined sugar, processed oils, and junk food. These foods drain the very minerals you need to make vitamin D work properly. When you nourish your body with real food, your vitamin D supplement becomes far more effective. Let's not forget one more critical point. Vitamin D works with your immune system, not just for it. It helps your immune cells identify and destroy harmful invaders, but it also teaches them to calm down after the job is done. This is why people with healthy vitamin D levels tend to recover faster from infections and experience fewer autoimmune issues. However, if you push your vitamin D too high or ignore the supporting nutrients like K2 and magnesium, you can actually create an imbalance in how your immune system behaves. So again, moderation and balance are key. Finally, understand that vitamin D is not just a supplement, it's a signal from nature. It tells your body that daylight has arrived, that it's time to be awake, active, and alive. When you reconnect with that natural rhythm, getting sunlight during the day, eating whole foods, moving your body, sleeping deeply at night, you're not just increasing vitamin D, you're restoring your body's connection to the environment it was designed for. That's where real health begins. So instead of obsessing over how many IUs to take or which brand is best, start focusing on how you live. Get a little sunlight every day, support your vitamin D with magnesium and K2, eat real food, sleep well, and listen to your body. When you start living in alignment with nature's rhythm, your vitamin D and your overall health will naturally find its perfect balance